So, before migrating here, Ron was asking if we understood the Constitution as the African migrant or any migrant foreigner for that matter. Not really, because we didn't even know that we will be here. I would say that for Zimbabweans, because as I said before, growing up, being born there, Rhodesia had set up Zimbabwe, just South Africa was set up. At least in my early, say like, as I was getting into grade 1, so that's like early 90s, things were still kind of cool, you know, but our mothers, they saw Rhodesia for how beautiful it was, but they didn't have the opportunities. That's why things had to change. So getting back to the story, I was part of the early migration. So that was like 20 years ago now. So you wake up, you gotta go. The Constitution was not read from that side of the border. But as soon as we got here, we knew we had to follow rules, regulations. You know, with time, we started to understand the Constitution. With time, we started to understand how people live. With time, we started to understand how South Africa is set up and how South Africans are. With time, we started to merge and mingle. With time, we understood each other, or we misunderstand each other, or we don't want to understand each other. So, most parts of significance to some past, present, history, while understanding the non-existence. So, meaning the significance of us being here should not be seen more as in what are they doing here. It's more about the presence of a people being together is what we fought for. You know, understanding the history, where we came from as a people, how harsh the past was, while understanding that it's a non-sexist country. So we can't look at each other, you know, in ways that are different. So we gotta work together as one Ubuntu and move forward, right? So then some of us will laugh at foreigners when we speak about Ubuntu, but we have to understand some of those things, you know. So you said, why don't you fight with us for the plight at work, you know, equality at workplace, you know. How unequal is the workplace? Because as far as I understand is, anyone who comes to apply in the workplace, they look at the CV and they employ. And there's again, I'm going to say, this is going to sound funny to I'm sure many out. In my community, more South Africans are always employed in the companies that I visit. And in some, there will be a 50, 40-60, sometimes 50-50. You know, those type of things, sometimes 30-70, more to South African. Ratios are different, you know. So as I said, at the end of the day, how unequal is unequal really, you know. Economic strains, sometimes they're difficult, you know, to keep on giving, say, raises. That will be substantial for someone to say, okay, that's enough, I'm happy with that. You know, more work, normally more pay. So now with the stipulated hours that our people want to work, you know, sometimes some of the Africans, they want to go all the way out. So we misunderstand one another in something like that, you know. And also what's wrong with trying to create passive income, you know. No work will pay you enough. So at the end of the day, I mean, at these workplaces where we are, we're fighting different visions, different goals, and while there's a minimum wage, the one who works harder more gets more pay. The one who's willing to work overtime gets overtime money. So those type of things, I don't think people understand them or put them into consideration. And also for work to function, they will take people who work longer hours, longer times. Not that you should, slave people and stuff like that. Nah, I'm just talking about proper overtime, whereby people are documented, they're being paid legally, and everything is according to the law, so they are allowed to take overtime. And in companies, there's certain overtime hours you're supposed to take. So a lot of people will take advantage of that. And so now, is it that the Africans don't fight on the plight of the South Africans at workplaces? Not me, nah. Not the people that I know. Because I have worked, and most of my students, people I have taught here and there, knowledge of networks, most of them so happen to be South African, So at the end of the day, I don't think so, and I actually encourage more of that. So I think it's just different communities that are not perhaps working together, or where people maybe that are not perhaps uplifting one another. But where I am and how I try to grow as a person is to try to work with one another. So we fight together, you black, you white, you Indian, you a foreigner, we are in this together. I mean, come on. The problems we face them together. So we, I think, as Zimbabweans, we will not look at it as a me, you, because I think people want to put us in a black and white battle, but we were not born to think like that, or even taught in school to think like that, or directed to think like that. We were just told, you black, you're beautiful, and you can be prosperous if you use the mind. My primary school motto was knowledge is power. So that's something that to this day, I work on. Reason then why apartheid and colonization had to end, so we can even have wages, laws, and direction as a people. We can debate, we can be happy, or we can try to be happy, or we can plan to be happy. It's all up to us now. But this was not like so then. So at the end of the day, the Zimbos usually don't even know rates. Most Africans don't know rates because they never got the chance to be employed. Hence why most of them are hustling. So we're not going to talk about the ones in the restaurants. Majority of the Africans are hustling because in Zim, 95% of the people can't even get employment there. And I think it's been like that since I was almost 15, just before I got here. As far as I could understand things and stuff, it was changing. Africans, they got here already scrutinized. So we can't say, nah, we got here and there was so much love. Nah, there was a lot of scrutiny. And that never kick-started meaningful talks, amongst blacks. Apart from dating, complaining at work, and meeting at entertainment places, dancing in the club and all that stuff. So, or watching the soccer, At the end of the day, we meet at all the wrong places and talk about nothing concrete to help us understand who we are, what are we doing in each other's spaces, and are we helping each other to grow. It's clear to understand perhaps ANC did not align with the people, regarding the other Africans. Unless, as maybe Ron have said, it was not an intentional thing for maybe South Africa to align itself with other African countries. And that's interesting because then that brings us to this fight. But not all South Africans were aligned to not wanting to be African. There were those majority who wanted to be real African and move with the majority. And also, I mean, on that note, if we never came here as migrants, as nothing has changed, ANC just win and they hold on to power and wish everything comes good, nothing would have changed here. And apartheid would have still been here because ANC would not have handled it and they would have given the power back. So at the end of the day, where we are now, as a people, we can say we're a family, we're beautiful together. You know, it don't matter what color you are, because what stops you from progressing, from being the best of you, is you. So at the end of the day, if you open your mind and allow your thoughts to bring wisdom and blessing, we will find that at the end of the day, we as a people, we're beautiful. And when I say you, it's not you as in a specific person, it's just all of us. And remember, in building and in trying to get solutions and create better developments for our people, there can't be a me or a you, it's we. So we as Africans, or some of our South African brothers and sisters, blacks saying, nah, y'all get out of here, perhaps we gotta do this our own, but the beautifulness that we see, we give that credit to our white brothers and sisters, not forgetting the African labor that was pulled here by force, by the apartheid regime, to help build this beautiful country of ours that we all share and love. So this day, I mean, we must know that let bygones be bygones. I mean, I was born free.